That was the kids wanted to go across the street. That was the premise of the movie. The kids wanted to go across the street, and look what happened.
Bitch them kids, bro.
We have such sights to show you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Four Dead Losers podcast. We are the Four Dead Losers. I'm Ramito.
Adam.
Jordan.
Justin.
And today we're going to be talking about 28 Weeks Later. Ooh, spooky. Justin, this was your pick. Non-spoiler thoughts. What did you think of the movie?
It was alright. There's some scenes in it that were really good. I don't know if we want to get... No, I'll wait. But it definitely felt like a step down from the first movie, in my opinion. I know we all had kind of different opinions on the first movie. I highly praised the first movie. This felt like kind of a little bit of a disconnect from it.
Okay.
It was okay. A lot of, I guess, what's the word? Not plot holes, but a lot of just bad decision making that just felt very unrealistic. And so, yeah, it was alright.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We're rating out of 10?
Probably like a 6.5.
6.5 out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. We'll go backwards today. Jordan, what did you think?
Ooh, I'm nervous. Overall, I enjoyed it. I was pretty harsh on the first one.
Because it was filmed on digital.
Yeah. God, I hated it.
That was good.
I know some people like it, but I had to be unpopular. Overall, I think my quick overview, special effects were questionable at times. I understood the vision, but it has that 2007 vibe where you can kind of feel.
Yeah.
I think the plot could have done more. I found it enjoyable, but I understand that a lot of critiques about it were that it just had stupid decisions or stupid characters, which we do horror movies, so that's a common thing, but
That's very true.
personally, I thought it had a better cast than the first one, which is going to be unpopular probably. I thought it was more enjoyable than the first one, and I appreciated it. Still mixed in that I don't know what the parts were filmed on. It still mixed in that really gritty footage style, while also incorporating a newer, higher quality one.
Those listening to the podcast, Ramito just did the gritty.
I don't know. I like the balance a lot more. Overall, I'm gonna give it 7.25 to be specific.
What the hell?
7.25 out of 10.
I gave the first one a 4.5, so we've gone up.
Improvement. Adam, not spoiler thoughts. What did you think of the movie?
Looking back, I had to look up the score of the previous movie, and I honestly want to go back and change my score from the previous movie to make it lower so that this one could be lower to match the slight improvement, like he was saying, from the first one. However, my general impression was it was just a movie, and I caught myself multiple times really not caring what was happening, because it just felt like things just happened, and there was no I get things were happening and things were set in motion, but it almost just felt like a whole lot of nothing, even though a whole lot of everything was happening. I got to the end, and I was just oh, okay, that's the end of the movie, I guess. All right, cool. All right, we're here. And there's definitely some big critiques similar to the first one that I have that we'll get to later. But if I were to go back and change the first rating to lower that one, saying that this one was a slight improvement in some instances, I would have given this one probably about a 6.5. Just for there were some good things, there were some good qualities, but
What did you give the first one?
I gave the first one a 7, and that's why I was and I think I gave the first one a 7 because I respected that, I understood why people may have liked it, but I didn't personally like it. But comparing this one, I thought this one was just slightly better, but I need to grade the other one lower so I can grade this one lower.
Because retroactively.
Yeah, I have to fix it, because if not, it wouldn't make sense. For me to say this was better, but then give it a lower score than the first one. Other than maybe just the first one has some other redeeming qualities, I guess.
Yeah. Going back, I'd probably give the first one a higher score. Because I don't think they're, my score shows a 2.75 point difference or whatever. I don't think they're that. I do think this
2.75.
I give the first one a 4.5, but I
I'm
gave
saying that
this
the
one.
difference between the scores.
I don't think this one is that much better. It like that big of a gap better, but I agree in the sentiment that this one is.
So you would bring it up. You bring it down. You bring it up.
I'd bring it down so I could give this one a closer rating, and he'd bring his up to bring his lower rating closer together.
Right.
All right.
Not spoiler thoughts for myself. I actually enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot better than the first one. I had some issues with the ending, like the very, 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 very end. But the rest of the movie, I understood like where y'all are coming from, or what some of the things that I'm thinking that y'all are thinking of, with like plot holes and just wrong decisions and stuff like that. And we'll get into it, of course, when we're getting into everything else. But it wasn't enough to like ruin the movie or make it any less enjoyable for myself, right? Just like Jordan said, right? We're in the horror genre, so like these kind of decisions just have to be made in order to
For the
have
movie to
scary
happen.
moments
Yeah.
and stuff, right? For myself, rating out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10.
Because you the first one.
The first one, I think I gave
I think a 5.
Yeah, I think a 5, a straight 5. Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get to the spoiler section of the video. This is your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen 28 Weeks Later, you'll have 28 weeks to see it. We're going to go ahead and get into it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bang.
2 people live. Right? Is that
Probably
Everybody died.
Everybody died.
Everybody
is that
died.
2 people, maybe, possibly, question mark.
Okay. Next episode.
Okay, so the movie's opening scene, I thought did a really good job about like setting it
It's
up.
so good. That
Yeah,
scene
it really is.
Good.
Can I, before we get into this, I was telling Justin this on the way out.
Yeah.
The original director's name is Danny Boyle, correct?
I don't know.
Probably.
His last
Oh,
name
yeah,
is
no,
Boyle.
yeah.
It's a different director than this one.
I've heard it
This movie has a different director, but this first opening scene is one of the only scenes in the movie that was directed by the original guy.
Which I think is
So
crazy.
he handled the sequences, like directing these sequences, and then it mentions like a couple other sequences in the movie. I think we could assume which ones those are based on the intro.
Yeah.
But the intro specifically, he handled directing.
And it felt like an extension of
So
the
I
first
think
movie.
that
it
Like
did.
aesthetically and everything like that. It like just felt like that.
People
like,
praise the opening.
Yeah.
I will say there was one thing I really did like. One of my pros was the lighting. They did like, again, they had the dimness of like it almost seemed like nighttime, right?
Right.
Or like dreary, like, you know, just that horror aesthetic. And then when they finally get to the point here we'll get to where they like open up like a sheet or a blind almost, and you see the outside and how blinding bright it is. Like I like that contrast of lighting that they do throughout this entire opening scene. I thought they did a really good job with that.
Yeah. So basically what happens is that the movie opens up and we are in a cabin that to us it just seems like it's nighttime until, just like Adam was saying, they open up a window or a door and we see that it's actually daylight outside. And then we see that all of the windows and every single crevice that light can get into has been boarded up. We are introduced to 2 characters here. The rest of them, we'll talk about what happens to them in about 3
Yeah,
minutes.
they don't matter.
Not important.
Wait, real quick, and I did some research on this. I don't know if there's a definitive answer without doing research, like without taking context clues. We never get a statement on when this takes place.
That took place 28 weeks prior to the whole like them there. So I think if we're going off of 28 days later, I have to imagine that
Because people are saying that like in 28 days they don't lose electricity till at the end, and in here they already don't have electricity. Like this
Well,
has to
it's
take
also
place.
It's also on a farm.
it's on like they're in a
Yeah.
cottage.
I would assume it's happening around
Right.
the same time.
And-
So the movie title is 28 weeks after the opening film, like the opening sequence, correct?
Well,
Go to-
after 28.
No,
No.
it's 28 weeks from the beginning of the.
Of the infection, that's what it is.
So after the intro,
28 weeks from the
we,
infection.
it like rewinds back.
Yeah,
to
so
day
if that
one.
was
Yeah,
if that was the infection, we have to also assume. Well, actually, how long of the infection was it? 28 days of the infection before Cillian woke
the
up.
first movie, yes.
Yes.
Cillian wakes up 28 days later. This movie takes place 28 weeks
after
later.
that.
After the
infection.
infection.
After the ape scene.
Yes, after the ape scene of the
Yeah,
very first movie.
correct, but
Yeah.
this intro sequence is somewhere
In the middle.
Okay,
It's like,
I guess it
would
doesn't really
assume-
matter.
I would assume it's happening sometime when Cillian's also doing whatever
Yeah.
he's doing.
Okay.
Probably.
And you know what? Just to add more to that, I think you're right about it taking place around the same time. because at the end of 28 days later, we see the jets flying over the
Yes.
little farm that they're at.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that that's like the U.S. Army or whatever.
Right. 'Cause
Like-
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so cabin, everything's boarded up. We're introduced to two characters. One of them, his name is Dawn, and the other one's name is Alice. Important to note is that Alice has a genetic mutation in her eyes where her irises are two different colors. They prepare a family dinner for the other people that they're in the cabin with. I believe it's an elderly couple, a man and a girl.
Yeah, and then the elderly couple, it's their house because I think they show a picture of the
Mhm.
elderly couple with some other people.
Right. And so they hear, basically, I think they're like saying grace or having some kind of conversation before they start eating, and then they hear a knock on the door, and they all like have this sponge guard moment where they're like, "Oh, what the heck is going
Well,
on?"
there was the point in the dinner where it got awkward. There was an extra plate set, and the one of the other girls
boyfriend.
had mentioned that the boyfriend had went out at some point.
Like 5 days.
Yeah,
earlier.
5 days earlier, and he hadn't come back yet, and so she's like, "No, he's gonna be hungry when he comes back." And like one of the other guys was like, "You're an idiot. He's never coming back. What's wrong
Yeah.
with you?" And like, I mean, just basically like poking a hole in her dreams.
He gets his karma. It's okay.
Yeah.
So they hear a knock at the door. They go to open the door, while the person is knocking, they can obviously hear that it's a little boy voice, or at
He's
least a
saying, "Help."
kid voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying, "Help, help, let me in, XYZ." How he knows that there's somebody in the house, I don't know. But
True.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's the first plot hole. Right
Oh, I
there.
mean, here, let's think about this though. There's a cottage in the middle of nowhere. So if it's the only place and he's being chased by the zombies, I mean,
the way that I chalk it up is they have to use fire to heat up the food, and the fire can't stay in the house. Right?
yeah,
Like,
so it has to
come
go.
out
So that
somewhere.
might be it too. Yeah.
So they open the door, just like Adam was saying earlier, blinding light into
Blinding.
it's like really bright into the house. They let the little boy in, and he like starts scarfing down some food.
And Dawn was just about to leave him out there.
Yeah, Don.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Because like
Ah,
his
yeah.
wife is like the one who cares. And like it's a kid, we have to get it. And Dawn is like, just ignore it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It comes into play again.
And so then the girl whose boyfriend went out, she goes to like peek through some of the blinds, and she opens it up, blinding light, and then we just see, right?
Yeah,
like
that was so.
like this
happens
fist or
quickly.
something comes out of
I wonder.
This
It
is
seemed-
the. Oh, sorry. Go.
Sorry, I was just gonna say it seemed very Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're walking by the window, and then they get like,
Grab him.
yeah, they just grab them. Well, she gets grabbed. I think she gets bit or something,
Yeah.
and then she
Very quickly.
yeah, and then just like and it seemed like her infection happened like a slight second faster, which is neither here nor there. But she gets infected, and then she starts attacking some dude.
The guy that was basically being a jerk.
Yeah, and then everybody like at that point the shit hits the ceiling, right? The ceiling fan. Everybody like starts freaking out. They start running around the house, and they go upstairs. I think the elderly couple ends up in like the barn or something
Yeah.
like that, and we see, and it's pretty brutal, like the way that when they the old man, I think, climbs like a ladder, and his wife is following him, but she doesn't make it. Like she gets pulled down.
Yeah. She halted for something.
I don't remember.
They were holding the door. They were
the
holding the
old
door.
man holds the door and tells her to go with the young
Yes,
guy.
and she doesn't want to.
She doesn't want to leave her husband
Yes.
behind or whatever.
And he gets.
She like watches him get
Yeah.
killed, and then
She tries
gets
to like, which again, bad
also this
decision-making,
is
but-
I don't know if Don has the crowbar yet. But
He
that was
finds
fire.
it somewhere. He's like,
Um,
it's like the same time.
I think he picks it up like as soon as they start
Yeah.
going.
I think this scene. I think you can tell it's directed by the original guy because it has like Adam was
fast
mentioning,
cuts.
Yeah.
the fast cuts. The light comes in and there's this certain like contrast that happens.
It's so.
and then the music is on like max volume. What-
Yeah, yeah, honestly,
it adds to
yeah.
the vibes. I get it, but it's
Yeah.
like this blaring.
So Alice, as the little boy's hand, they run upstairs to one of the bedrooms, and Dawn is like, "No, Alice, come with me. Leave the little boy behind." And she's like, "No, we can't leave him." And he's like, and I think like an infected gets into the bedroom, and
It's like
Alice
standing
and
in
Dawn,
between them,
yeah, the Alice and Dawn lock eyes, and he just
She's like begging him, like, do something or save us.
Which I
And
don't
he
know why.
closes that damn door.
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't just pick up the boy and like just take him. I don't.
because in the rest of the movie wouldn't happen.
She
Yeah,
felt
I guess,
helpless.
yeah,
He really said, No, I'm good.
No, I said I don't know.
Savage.
I don't know.
Really.
Hey, it's the first rule in the movie, in the original one. You gotta leave people behind.
You really do.
You're right.
Yeah,
Look at Hawkeye, bro. You should have left him behind.
And so then Don takes off. He's running on the hillside. We see all the other infected start
So
to
cool.
come,
More
and
loud
it's
and
really
cool.
good. He runs to a river where they have a motorboat, and there he sees I think his name is Jacob.
That was the guy that was roasting.
Oh, that's right.
He was roasting a
He's trying to get
homebrew,
it started, bro.
He's trying to get the thing started, and so Don makes it in. They both try to get at it, but then Jacob gets attacked by an infected, and then Don is like,
He has to kick him off the boat.
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
kicks him. I think Jacob is pulled into the water. Is what
Yes,
happens,
yeah.
and then that's when Don kicks him in the face because he's trying to get back on. But anyways, he gets the motor started, and then they take off, and then that's when we get various different timestamps.
And
right?
we rerun from day one, it runs you through the whole timeline.
It does, yeah. So
I really like the beautiful, brutal, he was pulled under by those zombies, and then literally he finally gets the boat on, and it eats through them.
Oh yeah.
It's oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It had really good
That was a pretty good,
Yeah.
good effects on this part.
Yeah, it was really really good. I liked it a lot. I wish the whole movie carried that way, but
Yeah.
you
But
could,
alas, it did not.
it didn't.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it gets me thinking. If the first movie was actually filmed not using digital camera, I mean, it probably would have been a lot better with people.
Which a lot of people actually love it for that reason.
I
though.
like it
love
for that
the
reason, but
grittiness
I
of
know
it.
y'all all
I don't
found
think,
it as
I
a
don't,
con.
I don't think it would have been I don't think it would have made a difference.
I don't know.
I think I'm on your boat too.
I think the director would have. Yeah.
I think.
I think you either love it or you hate
But
it.
y'all like the scene, but y'all don't like the first movie. It's the same aesthetic. That's the thing,
But it's not for 2 hours.
I guess.
Yeah, I think. See, in my notes, I literally have. Why is the audio or what the F is this audio quality? Why did the video quality and vibes change? So I like parts of this scene, but I couldn't do a full movie of it.
So then we get different timestamps. So in the first movie, we have the apes breaking out. Okay, cool. So 15 days after that is when mainland Britain goes into quarantine. 28 days later is, the movie, right? Britain has been destroyed by the rage virus. 5 weeks after the initial apes being let out, the infected had died by starvation. 11 weeks after, U.S. Led NATO forces to show up to London and basically clear out the city.
They're always interfering.
the big Lord.
Yeah. 18 weeks later, mainland Britain is declared free of the infection. 24 weeks later, reconstruction has begun. So basically, they're starting to recolonize Britain. I'm assuming they're starting with London, and then 28 weeks later is where we end up finding ourselves. And so here we basically get a shot of a plane landing, and more colonists are getting off. We are introduced to, I don't think we get her name, but she's her name is Scarlett. She's going to be one of our main characters later on. She's the chief medical officer of the colony, basically. And she's like, hey, General Stone, I didn't know we were letting kids onto the colony now. And so the kids that she's referring to are going to be Andy and Don's kids, which are Andy and Tanny. They go through everybody on the plane goes through the initial checkpoints, right? Making sure that they're not infected, they don't have any diseases, that kind of stuff.
This is when we find out Andy has 2 different color eyes.
Yes,
as
Andy
well.
has the 2 different color eyes.
Which I just put together right now.
All right, this is where I'm gonna bash, because this is where I got so angry, and you brought it up in the first scene. It was not as bad as once it started here. I physically had to rewind it because it bothered me so much. I timed it. There was over 20 plus cuts in 1 minute from when the plane landed to the whole, I think 21 plus unnecessary cuts, bro. No long shots longer than maybe 3 seconds, averaging under 3 seconds a shot. I was like, why? I think honestly that's what took me out of the movie almost immediately. I'm like, this is just so distracting. It's so bad. I don't know how y'all could get through that, but I was so angry as soon as that happened.
It's probably because I had TikTok.
I was gonna say that's that.
Yeah.
It's made for modern audience.
It's for literally everybody.
It kept me engaged.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Here are my math notes. So So that's one of my biggest cons. There's way too many camera cuts. Like it's just disorienting almost to the point where we're just like, okay, there's all these things happening and you want us to follow, but like as soon as you say something, you're changing 20 different times to like distract us from nothing. Like I'm like, I get it sometimes when it's like I think we've talked about it, saving money when your budget's low. This had $15 million budget compared to the $8 million the first one had, which you could tell they ran out of money at some point. But what got me was that I looked it up. I go, what is the average for cuts in movies? The average for like an action movie is every 4 to 5 seconds, assuming it's an action scene. That's like when it's action packed, like guns ablazing.
Right, that's like 10 cuts a minute.
An average for a horror movie is 15.7 seconds. Horror movies are very well known for like being more slower paced, so they're having more longer cuts, longer shots, so that you could really draw out like the emotion and stuff.
I want the math on the first movie. I feel like they have a similar. Well, you didn't like the first one.
I didn't like the first one movie, and I think that was one of the things.
They both have a lot of
I think this opening alone, it was bad. Like it was so like the plane landing was 6 different shots. It was like 1 second and then another one and then another one. I'm like, bro, just show the long shot of the plane, like just turning into the thing. Like
28 years later, they were filming with like the thing of a bunch of iPhone cameras. You know it's gonna have a lot of cuts, bro.
That's what I'm saying. If this movie next week has a lot of cuts, I'm gonna be so angry. I might leave.
You know it's gonna
I'm gonna be so angry. But that like. That's crazy. It even says modern because you are saying modern. Modern movies, it says it's anywhere from 2.5 to 5 seconds. I don't think I can recall. I don't think
20 cuts.
I don't think I can recall a movie that I've seen this entire year that's had that fast of cuts.
I think
you gotta watch an action movie.
I think in the
I watched How to Train Your Dragon. It did not have
that. Is not no action movie.
It is a good movie.
You gotta watch Transformers. That's notorious. The explosion from like 10 different angles.
If it's not Shia LaBeouf, I don't want it.
You know what movie that I think you would like then?
What?
There's a movie that's called Mads.
That's a foreign one we watched?
Yes. It's a French horror movie that's a lot like this, actually.
All one shot?
It's all, the entire movie is one shot.
That's what I like. All right.
I think they had to practice for 3 weeks straight.
Just you imagine you get to the last like 5 minutes of the movie, you mess up. Cut it. Start it over.
It did. Like, for real, the entire movie is one shot. And I was telling Jordan, I was like, there's no way that the entire movie was shot in like one thing. Like I would imagine that they just kept the camera like
and like
wherever
overlapped it.
It's
a zombie movie?
Yeah, kind of. But no, that's not the case. When they filmed it, they did one
dedicated.
cut. Yeah.
There's
but y'all noticed that, right? Like the entire airport scene was like literally just like, oh, there's this and then this and then this, and then I'm like, there's that.
In the infection scenes, it made sense to me because it's like a high
action,
especially when they were using like disorienting cameras.
Yes, that's
like
fine. That's fine.
I didn't even realize. It didn't even click to me that there were that.
I need you to watch it again. You'll see. I want you to count.
I'm pretty sure. I will. I'm pretty sure this director was trying to mimic the first movie.
Yeah.
Also, they like. The original.
Just imagine that. Okay,
we need more cuts. We need more cuts.
What would you do?
Change now.
Because he was like hand selected by Danny Boyle, the original director, and one of the other like writers who are executive producers on this movie. But it mentions that it's because they liked a movie he made in 2001, and then I don't remember the name of it.
Cuts.
But he took a 5-year break to film only commercials before working on this movie.
No.
So maybe his commercials have a lot of cuts. I don't know.
Maybe.
But my one pro was the ominous. Oh, you have the 2 different eye colors. They zoom in on the eyes and like it's like the ominous like this is trouble. I'm like, okay.
What I didn't block is that would make it more likely for him to have the same genetics as his mom.
Yeah, that's what I point out.
Like I don't think his sister would.
It's a genetic abnormality that you get from one of your parents.
His sister probably doesn't have the same traits.
She's not.
I didn't think.
I thought she was a doll. I also pointed that out. Like when you like turn and they like it was during the eye scene of the 50 million cuts they did, and when they take it off and they like pan to the side view of him, and she's just like staring at him like dead eye, like. And I literally put it there. I was like, did they just literally just put like a lifelike doll for what reason? Just get the normal person.
You compare, man.
But I think they literally the shot was so fast and she was just so deadpan that like it looked like just a lifeless doll, just like. And I was like, what the heck? Why would you do that? Like the CGI fish from the new one. Like, I was like, why?
That's good CGI.
I was like, why would you do that? Then I was like, oh wait, no, it's just like her eyes and like I guess at that one scene they were like she didn't have a chance to move, so it just looked lifeless. Like I was like, what the heck?
So then the 2 kids, they get reunited with Don, and we get family moment, right? Don basically tells them that he has, what is it, AAA security, whatever, so he could get into anywhere.
Somehow he like is like helping plan the rebuilding. Like I don't know what his job was beforehand.
He's a
but-
janitor now.
Yeah, no, it's like I think he does.
They mention it, but I didn't catch it.
I didn't write
this,
the-
but
he's
like
like-
he's supposed to be an important person
Yeah, he's an
as far as
important
the
person.
colony
Bro,
goes.
and then he starts lying at it.
He does.
Oh.
So the kids ask him like, "Hey, what happened to Mom?" And he recaps the opening scene, but he lies to them. He said that he went back to go save or check up on Alice, the mom, but he didn't do that.
And he
right?
said he like
fucking
saw
booked
her.
it.
He
Yeah.
literally
Saw-
said, "I
saw-
saw her. It was
She
too
was
late."
dead, yeah.
Right.
We also get the mention of that like they can't go back to their original house.
House.
Right.
They earlier on when they're on the bus or train or whatever it is, we hear about like they can't enter the water or leave the.
Yeah, they can't
confines
cross
of
the
area.
river.
Literally, the first thing they say, you cannot go over there. Do not cross. And then what do these
Fucking kids do.
Oh my lord!
And they let them do it.
Yeah, they
it
let
takes
him
so
yeah,
long.
yeah,
It's
yeah, I was
fun.
like, that's what we were trying to figure out. They go to all this like length of stuff, and it's like how like when did they show up? Like for people that are monitoring this thing, like it feels like it took hours.
You
for
would
them to
think
find
you
them.
would think the security would have been better for them not to be able to sneak across an entire bridge.
Yeah.
And then they're
to
like,
get-
I see two people crossing, and it takes
It's
forever.
Hawkeye.
Hey,
It's Hawkeye, yeah.
And there's a U.S. military for
So basically, the reason why they want to go back to the original house is because Andy tells Tammy that he doesn't want to forget what Alice looks like.
The mom.
Yeah, the mom. So they want to go get a picture. So then they break the quarantine, right, and go across the river to their house.
Right
They
behind the
own-
guards.
Yeah, like, literally, it's like how do you not like?
There's boats.
we
Yeah,
also-
there's boats
We also
there.
get
It's like-
introduced to like 6 different soldiers that don't really have names. That
They don't even
really
know.
only 2 of them are important. Is like one of those 2 is like, man, some of these characters are just throwaways. Like they're not even like, but like they spend like a little bit of time like with their whole conversations and them talking, and they even what is it, man? Like man, we're not seeing any action. Why did they bring us over here? It's like all these bad foreshadowing. Like
Yeah.
have you noticed that? Like this is like the whole lying to the kids. Like all like you kind of knew. Like I've never seen the movie, nor had I have any idea what was happening. Like like ahead of time, but I could already tell as soon as they lied. I'm like, oh yeah, the mom's still alive. Like even though you figured she wasn't, or that she probably wasn't, because they even did it right where she's looking at the window at dawn at the beginning, and she's like, and then she gets tackled.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
so I don't know how, but anyways.
So they get to the house. They cross the bridge. They get to the house. They find the picture of.
They do steal a moped.
They
That
do.
is
They
a very important
commit
thing.
Grand Theft Auto.
Well, and that was my other thing. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna go to the house. They cross the entire bridge to get to the other side from the mainland, and then what would have happened if they wouldn't have had the moped? There's no way they would have walked all the way over there.
They
It was
might
like,
have.
oh, no, they wouldn't have. There was a long sequence to get to the house.
And my bro Hawkeye calls in like, hey, we got to like
Puppies.
Lost
puppies.
puppies. No, they lost dogs. And they were like,
No.
no,
Oh
they
yeah,
called them
dogs.
puppies.
Yeah, afterwards,
And
so like
then-
dogs are like no puppies.
Puppies, yeah.
He crosses. They steal the keys from this dead delivery driver, drive all the way there, go through the house or whatever, and then they finally show up. Like the security, like the
Too, so
military.
it's like how long does it? Yeah, how long does it
Like,
take?
Literally just.
Yeah.
How'd they find them?
Okay.
That's another thing. That's a big city.
So in my mind, it's there's only 2 kids in the colony, which is the 2 of them,
Mhm.
and so they might have asked Don like, "Hey, any idea where they could have gone?" And he's like, "Oh, they probably went." Oh no,
That-
because he didn't know.
He didn't know. Yeah, he didn't know.
He doesn't find out that they're missing until they get to the house.
No, he does.
He
No,
walks
does.
into the room and it's
It's
empty.
empty.
We get a
Yeah, because they
quick
even
cut
said,
of
"Hey,
that.
we found your kids."
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So then he probably tells them their address.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
to
like,
figure
bro,
it
there's
out
no
from
way you're gonna get a helicopter and just magically find them if they're already in the house. Like, bro, there's no way.
So-
Like, that moped doesn't look like it should be there.
there. So they're, exploring their house. Okay, whatever. I have Andy. He's jumping on the trampoline, making all this noise. So I was like,
That's how they
bro,
found him.
what the hell? But eventually, Andy can't. Tammy doesn't hear Andy screaming from the top of his lungs, so he decides to go inside, right? And he's screaming her name out inside, but for whatever reason, she doesn't hear him. And so he goes upstairs into this bedroom, and there's a lot of like cans and decaying food and all these
Maggots.
maggots.
And he
that kind of
smells
stuff.
it. He's like, let me smell. Ugh, gross. Like, what is wrong with
I
you?
don't know, man. So then he he hears somebody on the other side of the room, and it turns out that it's actually Alice. Wow, she was alive this whole time.
Somehow made it back to her house.
Yeah. And so they embrace while they're hugging. Alice is like, you can tell, yeah, she's like death gripping a hunk of skin on his back, and you can tell that she's infected because she has like the blood red eye. One eye is blood red. They go outside. The U.S. Army's there. Okay, cool. They send everybody into quarantine. They pull everybody to the
Quarantine area.
yeah, the quarantine area where they have Tammy and Andy in one room, and then they have Alice in a completely separate room.
How'd they get her peacefully? You know what
I
I mean?
don't know.
Like that was the other thing.
Hit her
like,
with the gun. Just
I don't know.
So they have so she's strapped down to like a bed basically, and Scarlett goes in to draw blood, asking her all these questions. She's non-responsive. I think the only thing that she says is, "I want to see my kids." Spoiler alert: she never does.
You also see like the scar on her arm.
Scar on her
It's
arm
like a
where she was
full
bit.
bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
and they're very calm about it too. You
Yeah.
would think that they would be a
I
lot
think
more,
it's because she's not showing symptoms.
but
so
still, I mean,
Well, no,
like,
so that was the thing. The doctor was the one that saw it, and which they did the whole scene where they like hosed her down,
Yeah.
which you would have thought they would have seen
Yeah.
it then, right? But like the doctor is the one that makes the revelation, right? And so for her big thing and why she's like the main protagonist, or not one of the main protagonists, but like one of the main people, is because she sees very quickly that like, okay, she is infected, but she's not showing signs of infection. So like this could be the key to like everything, right? The doctor like
and she even tells, she's talking to Dr. Stone about, not Doctor, General Stone about the
Knuckles. She's talking
yeah.
to Knuckles.
And she's
Idris
telling,
Elba for those.
and she's telling him exactly what you're saying.
And he's just like any like typical like military person in a movie. I don't care. Code red. Destroy it.
Kill
like,
everybody.
Kill
Bro,
everybody.
ignoring medical people.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that in America.
In a horror movie.
During a pandemic?
Right.
So Dawn makes it down to see Andy and Tammy, and they're like, "Why did you lie to us?" And he's like, "Oh, I
And he's
thought
behind
she
the
was
window
dead."
too. He's like behind the
Yeah.
the police window.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I
He
don't
said,
know.
I never said I saw her dead.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not. And they're like, "Bruh."
He was like, it's just,
12
it's
hours
just the
ago.
wording. Yeah.
he's like
Exactly.
gaslighting them for
Yeah, honestly. And he uses his AAA security clearance to basically get past all the security guards, right? Every single security measure to go see his wife.
And again, nobody questions him either.
No one
like,
questions him.
They're just like, oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah, so he goes to see his wife. He sees that she's strapped to the gurney, and he decides that it'd be a great time to smooch her.
Apologize. No, he apologizes
Oh,
first. And he's
yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. And I would have thought she would have been like, I hate you. And then
That's
she was
what I
like,
thought, too.
yeah. And then she was like, I love you. And he's like, oh, I love you too. Yeah, I gave her a kiss after, because they even said like, I think they had made it a point, which again, surprise, surprise, bad foreshadowing. Yes, she can still transmit through her blood and saliva.
Right, she's still a carrier.
Yeah, she's still a carrier.
See,
So
that's the thing. You would think that they would have more high security there, or not even be around her like that. You know, like.
And then they still
It's
were.
just plot. It's
And then so
bad
then
plot.
yeah, he, like you're saying, kisses her. They even like they get in and they even show the slow motion like
You see, like, the
saliva spreading, and then like within what, like not as fast as the opening, but like
It's almost
within
like he's
10
fighting it like the dad in the first movie.
like the
right?
werewolf.
He's about to Hulk out, bro.
like who is it, Wolfman?
I think it's because it was transmitted through saliva and not blood, so it's
Maybe.
a little more
Like
like
a
slower.
bite, like it didn't
It's
go.
like, yeah, it's like slower.
I think now you're just it's just.
I'm trying.
What's the lore on that? Can somebody comment? What's the lore on that? Is it saliva less or slower?
Is it less
transmit-
potent?
Less potent.
I feel like it would be though. No.
I agree.
The science, yeah.
Just scientifically, it doesn't matter. The movie's bad anyways. I'm trying to justify. I'm trying to justify this out of all the bad decisions.
So
you know?
I don't, and this is where I think I don't justify it. So maybe it's because she was locked down, so she couldn't fight back. But it was like, so she got back and survived another attack. But somehow on that attack, she only just got bit, and they left her not like ripped throat out. Because that's what this one did.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she's.
I saw a theory.
She like rips his.
Did she still survive this?
No.
Oh, so when.
No, yeah, she was fine.
So then when we see her later, it's just like her corpse at that point.
What do you mean? What do we see later? I don't
When like
remember.
they're nuclear blasting
During
the
the fire,
place.
yeah.
He thought she was alive.
Oh, I didn't know.
That would have been bad. That would have been awful. That would have been just
No, I think-
sadistic
I don't think-
debauchery.
I don't
Yeah, my
think
boy,
she's
my boy
alive.
Don brutalizes her.
Yeah,
Like, fucking rips her eyes
He
out.
does.
Yeah,
I don't know.
gouges her eyes.
Yeah.
Does that happen in like the first movie?
I don't think
They
anybody
rape.
has
The
proof
first
of
one, they're
it.
rape. Yeah, they're
There's
rape.
like more like, but they're very like feral like that. This one looked
He
very.
wasn't even
Like,
biting or anything.
he was
just-
yeah. It felt more. I want to say like intellectual
I
is
think
the
he
right
bit,
word, but
I
it
think
felt
he bit
very.
the neck, didn't he? Didn't he like?
Yeah, but his actions
throat,
felt
yeah.
more.
Is it 'cause- do they-
calculated?
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Also-
opposed to just being like rabid.
When they're infected, I guess it's because she's asymptomatic. Because I don't think the infected ever attack another infected person until in this moment. This is the only moment.
I think you're right.
You're right, and I think the what were you saying?
No.
Maybe that's why he gouges her eyes
Is it
out.
because she doesn't appear?
Because she doesn't appear infected.
Like, I don't- Or it's just a big plot hole. I don't
I
know.
don't know. This whole movie's full of plot holes. Like, come on.
I mean, yeah, it is full of plot.
It's like literally. There's like we probably already gone through like 5 of them.
When he rages out and like leaves the room and starts biting everybody.
Yeah, and then
else,
that was my other thing. How did he get out of the room?
he broke through it. He's raging.
And the
No,
room
it
is
was like-
locked
yeah,
down,
it's like locked
military.
down,
I mean,
yeah.
is
People-
he smart enough to pull the key card out? And that's
One of the critiques I read is how easy like windows and doors break in this film. Like he just. But I did like the way this was filmed. We get like I think it goes like POV.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
the blurry
The-
like.
What is it?
The wolf-
The rig, the camera rig, right? Where it's like on the
Right.
guy, right? It's
I like it. I thought it was well.
I don't know. I'm not a
Hardcore
huge fan.
Henry.
Yeah, like
The
that,
hardcore
like that,
Henry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie. We need to review that one.
And this is when we get Code Red.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
would be at Code Red, where General Stone basically sees people getting infected and they're locked down.
Yeah, military guy's like, hey, what are you going on? Ah!
And so they start funneling the colonists into like different
This
rooms
was
and
the
everything.
worst decision.
Yes, it is.
This is okay. This is literally a why. Like, in what?
Where else are they gonna put them?
But like,
Well, no,
Anywhere.
I think
It's a bad idea.
Anywhere.
The issue was, I think the idea was where they were getting to was supposed to be locked down and safe, and he said they were just in the medical wing, but I don't think he gathered that, I guess, somehow within their setup that it was easy for them to get through to another area that would break through.
there's no way to justify that at all. They could have easily just said stay in your rooms, like lock them down,
Right.
stay in your rooms.
Instead they lock
Oh,
everybody
if
in
you
one
come
big
out,
room.
if you come out, you're getting shot. Like that's easy, like literally. But they literally get everybody and they corral. Like that's what.
Yeah.
Which again.
There's a very infectious virus coming around. We
Everybody
should get
get
everybody together at once in case something happens.
It was clearly not very like, even with the way everybody's acting, it's not well thought out or planned. I personally like the vibes and like the way it was filmed, even though it's a dumb decision.
Yeah, no.
And then again we get Dawn like easily breaking down a door,
Yeah.
even though it's supposed to be like highly locked down or whatever.
And
Yeah, so basically what happens is that when they're breaking everybody up into these different areas, Andy gets put into the basement of the medical wing with everybody
I
else.
think everybody gets put in there.
No, not Scarlett and Tammy.
They're the only ones.
Well,
who
they,
got
yeah,
it.
so what happens is,
Oh.
the kids are in the room.
Yes.
We hadn't got that. Well, we did. We just kind of skimmed it. Kids are in the room locked up still. The doctor was like, hey, we're code redis, whatever, don't worry, I'll be back. And then they leave the door
Oh,
open.
the security
Yeah,
guard.
and then he comes back and he's all bloody. He's like, and then somehow, Scarlett takes him out. Like, all right, let's go, and then gets him into the giant corralled area stairwell, and it's red light, right? Code red, so they have to have the red light. Ooh. And then they get to a I wouldn't say it's like a checkpoint, but like an area with guards. And she's trying to get past them to go to another area. I guess that's like for the military personnel. And she's like, I need to take these two. We need to go. Then like, no, nobody. Code red. It's like we're.
See, they do corral everybody.
Yeah, and so but they're trying to put them in another secured area because I think in their mind, if they're all in one place,
Nobody can get in.
nobody can get in and out, and then everybody's like it's done. But what they don't realize is how bad it is. 'Cause I don't know how much I guess the Americans knew. I mean, they know about the virus, but they also said they weren't there.
They knew about it.
They did. They just said they weren't there on like when it first started,
Yeah.
so they didn't know how bad it could get at the rate it could get, and so they get split up because the crowd is crazy. And like you said, he goes to the basement, ends up getting in the ventilation shaft or something.
Yeah, so basically, when he's in the basement, for one reason or another, Dawn is able to open doors that are on the other side that nobody decided to lock or barricade or
When it
whatever.
breaks in, it has an
Yeah.
eye to eye. This is another one where
Yeah, he keeps on making eye to eye contact.
I like the way the scene was filmed. It's like really dark and blurry again, and it's funny because if it was in the first movie, I probably would have hated it. There's something about the way it's executed in this movie.
This one I liked it because this is the whole scene in the basement corridor where everybody's just basically getting infected by Don and whoever else is infected is reminiscent and a callback to how they described the airport scene from the first movie, where people are piled on top of each other. You don't know who's who, and it's just and
it's just like pitch black.
Well, yeah, and then and you don't know.
They
who's
turned the lights off.
Why?
Yeah.
In this dark activity.
It said raise the.
Wait, did Code Red not turn off all the electricity? I'm pretty sure we see all the electricity.
But still, like, they should have emergency.
Oh yeah, it was stupid as hell.
Yeah.
But,
Anyways.
yeah, people are getting infected, but they're like, it's exactly how they described it. It happens so fast, you can't tell who's infected and who's not. It's just a frenzy of how to best describe it.
Right. So then, just like you're saying, Andy hides in an air duct, and then basically everybody breaks out in the panic. Right? They leave the room. Everyone's running out on the streets. General Stone tells the snipers, "All right, only shoot the infected, but it's nighttime. There's only like one spotlight lighting up the entire alley, so you can't tell who's who until like I think some soldiers start to fall, and so then that's when General Stone's like, you know what, fuck it, just take everybody."
They're like, hey, we can't tell who's what, like it's just too much, and then he's like, yeah, I'm calling it code, like extra code red, and burn it down.
Yeah, shoot everything, and some of these, like I feel like some of these kills are a little brutal.
Yeah, they're really
the gunshots. They're a little dramatic, and
they're cool. Like if you're gonna be like this intense of a movie,
I like it.
And this is a callback to where it said, "Man, we're not seeing any action." That's what I say. They like foreshadowed everything, and so I'm like, I'm not knocking that, right? Like foreshadowing is a good part of the story, but like they were so blatantly obvious. It's like, oh my gosh.
So then, basically. Andy gets reunited with Tammy and Scarlett. They're in like a convenience store that's right off the strip.
Yeah, I couldn't tell where they were, but this is when
like
Scarlett mentions that like
something.
Before that happens, we keep on failing to mention because this is where he joins. Hawkeye basically is one of the snipers, and he's conflicted. He's the only soldier that like is conflicted on taking
people.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, and they even asked like, hey, why did you pause shooting? Like as if they know, like,
okay,
hey,
he asked to like confirm.
Well, he asked to confirm, but then at one point they're like, why did you pause? Like I'm like, who's watching you? And checking on how many shots you're taking.
Did they kill count?
Yeah, he's like the Fortnite.
Hey, your Katie's messed up.
And so he gets conflicted about it. He ends up taking out, I think, a regular person or two, and he definitely is conflicted.
He has to shoot one of the soldiers too.
And shoot one of the shoulders, and then it gets to the point where he locks the with the kid. He even says like, "Get out of the way, kid! Like, please run!" Yeah. And they're like, "Take the shot!" And then he sees the zombie about to come after him, so he takes the zombie out. And I think that's when he just like bails. He's like, "All right, now I'm out. Like, I can't do this."
We also get, when we're in the convenience store or whatever, Scarlett also is like trying to explain to everybody, because they're all confused, like what's happening now, the soldiers are killing us. Mm-hmm. She mentions that like the last step, stage 3 of Code Red is to exterminate.
Yeah.
Like when you can't contain it and it's failed.
Yeah.
Which is a callback to the first movie when they meet in the convenience store at the beginning. Oh man, it's all coming together.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
Is it the same one? Is it the same candy shop?
No. That one was in the subway.
I don't know. That's we get
We get the subway.
But is Don gonna let it hang though?
I don't think there's any dong in this movie. Thumbs down. 0 out of 10. So then Hawkeye basically meets up with the others in the convenience store. He tells everybody, "Hey, I'm gonna lead everyone out. So let's go ahead and go."
Right. He's like, you might get killed now, but if you wait till the morning, you're definitely gonna get killed.
Yeah. And so they start making their way like out of the store into the alleys. I think like there's a shooter at some point who's trying to shoot them.
Oh, this was kind of a cool scene when they're like running and then they start dropping.
Well, I think they find out that he left his post, and so another key character kind of is his buddy who's a helicopter person,
helicopter boy,
helicopter pilot, and he basically tells him, he's like, "Where did you leave your post?" And he's like, "Hey, this and that." I'm not down with it. And he's like, "Well, you better get out of where you're at, because like they're basically
about to blow it
up, like they're coming." Yeah. which this is where the first bad special effects happen.
It looks fire. Come on, what are we doing?
Literally.
It was pretty
yeah,
good.
so-
I thought it was pretty good for what it was.
It was pretty bad. What you were saying, they get cornered by another shot at the top of the roof, and so essentially, he's like missing, and he even knows, he's like, okay, this guy's not a good shot. He's probably not like an actual like very well trained soldier.
Sniper.
It's like, so he's like, we can make it, but I need one of you to like go out there and basically tells the
He
guy.
made- he's
He
like-
tells a guy, like I don't even remember when this guy joined them. I forgot.
He was
but-
like in the convenience store.
Yeah,
Some
it's like-
random
yeah,
He
guy.
doesn't
like-
want to do it. He gets his karma later.
Yeah. He's like, no, you just want me to be bait, and he's like, listen, dude, like either you're the bait and I can take the shot when he's missing you,
Or
or
we
we're
all die.
all gonna die anyways because
Yeah.
they're about to just like carpet bomb the place.
And then that boy Andy just.
and then Andy just like,
Even
Fortnite,
Hawkeye's
he does the
like,
Fortnite
fuck.
slide.
And then Hawkeye is able to take the guy out. And then
Oh, this is when we see Dawn again.
yeah, we get a
like
so
this.
Andy has like a vision of Dawn.
I don't think it's a vision. I think
No,
it's
it's not-
real.
yeah,
I think he's there.
Yeah, he's-
I thought it was a vision because like he sees him in the distance, and then I think Hawkeye like
Talks to him
walks-
real quick and then
No,
he
it's-
disappears.
he's
I
there.
thought he just
No,
disappeared.
No,
for
he's
real.
there. He's there.
He has to be, because by the time they get to where they get to at the end of the movie, I was so mad too.
Yeah.
Where like,
I thought he
like,
just,
this
like,
man
ran away
literally
somewhere.
just made it by himself.
Well,
like,
they're trying to make Dawn this like. I can't even
He's like
put
the
it in-
supernatural, like
the
stalker dad.
yeah, like the stalker, like in the video games, right? I don't know if y'all play Resident Evil, like the Mr. X, you know, the unrelentless stalker.
He's like the main
one that
guy.
keeps coming after you. Like they were trying to make that, and that was like a gripe that people had. Like, why is like he's so intelligent compared to the rest
He's
of the
OP,
zombies?
bro.
Yeah, he's like super OP.
He got a
He's
special
patient-
attraction that
patient
evolved.
zero.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, he was built different. So I
He's
don't know.
built different.
Yeah. Again, bad plot, whatever.
yeah.
That was him though. It was him.
Okay. So then they start bombing the city. We get shots of
Bad
basically
special
the.
I like the contrast of it though.
Bad.
It's really
I thought it was
bright
okay,
and a
yeah,
really
I thought it
dark.
was cool.
It was the most CGI fire next to the fire scene that comes up next.
It was alright. It wasn't bad.
It is not the worst
Shadows
special
the
effect.
next scene.
There was definitely worse CGI that'll come up later.
No, it's pretty bad.
Did he rate Puppet Master higher than this movie?
I think he did.
Which was like,
Okay.
no, this was like when they did the car bars. This is the spot where I'm like, you could have just stayed maybe in one area and it'd been better, but they had to showcase multiple.
The overhead
areas.
pan where you can
It's
kind
ju-
of tell.
it's- no, you
yeah.
could definitely
They
tell.
had to portray how massive the carpet bomb was that it was affecting
I
the
didn't
whole
mind
area.
it. This is not the worst special effect.
It was
in the
pretty
movie,
bad.
so.
It was alright. I thought it was.
It was like
Passable.
it was like
It was
the
passable.
fake CGI like Spider-Man 1 buildings, and then the fire that you could get on like the cheesy ones you could just
Adobe
input-
After Effects.
Yeah, the Adobe After Effects.
Yeah.
Just like they just put like 6 of those. Because right, like when the fire hit, what made it worse was how quick like it just grew. I'm like, okay, I
Isn't
know
that
how
how it happens?
It looks like a fog machine.
Isn't that how it happens? Like you're elected, like the fire just.
I've never seen.
Yeah,
I'm not a firebomb expert.
It does, but it doesn't. Like I think the rate at which it did was too quick. Like it should have been the explosions first and then the fire builds. This one it was like as soon as it hit, the fire was already already 1,000 feet in the air.
I will
You're
say-
a firebomb expert. Let us know.
We do see like the infected people on fire, and then they're like spreading it to each other. I thought that was.
It was cool. Like for a movie that's pretty like.
$15
Alright, it was
million
pretty good.
dollars.
It was alright.
I also guess
like
What was the Transformers budget?
50 million.
Is this when they authorize chemical weapons too? We get like.
No,
No, it's about to be.
That was
Okay.
cool. That was a cool scene.
So then after all of that, they basically keep walking.
They make it out
And
somehow.
they make it out of the
firebombs.
city of the fire bombs or whatever.
We're
Yeah,
like
they
walking
still-
slow. We get cuts
and
to
they-
like the people running. Like, all the infected.
and they end up at an abandoned circus, and they basically like take a little break. This is where Hawkeye gets like a radio from the helicopter guy saying that they're gonna evac in 60 seconds, and it's like, okay, so let's start running. And of course, like in the direction that they're running, there's a horde of
Zombie,
infected,
yeah.
and so they all get low in the tall grass. The helicopter comes overhead for whatever reason that doesn't cue the zombies to start booking it.
And this man's like, I'm not taking everybody.
Yeah, he's like
says
he's
that.
still under the impression of like I'm not. Like hey,
I
I'm
think
like we
the
have
zombies were
instructions.
starting to run.
They were starting to kind of run, but he
They're
was like,
starting to
we have instructions. Like we can't. I'm not
Yeah.
taking them. No, it's what cues them is that guy running. The dude was like, screw this, and like they're extra that.
Yeah.
He like hooks onto the
Yeah,
helicopter.
he hooks onto
it,
and
yeah.
And he's like, hey, get up!
Yeah.
he's bait anyway.
Yeah. He uses them as bait as the guy in the helicopter goes towards the horde and aims the helicopter
This was the worst
blade
CGI.
down.
This part was a really cool concept, but it is the worst CGI. It looks like Sharknado or something.
They're like, he uses the blade to start mowing
You
down
see
the
people's heads
horde.
getting cut off.
It was cool. It was really bad, but it was really
And
cool.
somehow he didn't take all the horde out, even though it looked like they were all perfectly in line with the propeller blades. Like 6 somehow made it around.
And somehow the propeller doesn't hit the floor. Like,
I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure it's
He's
at
a
an
master
incline.
pilot. He's a master
What happened to
pilot.
the guy at the bottom? Doesn't he just?
I think he falls off.
He
He
falls
falls off.
And then the helicopter guy's like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
Yeah, he says, "Fuck it, I'm out."
Yeah, he said he's like I'll meet you later. He's
At
like,
the
but you,
arena.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you're not gonna meet.
Walk
I'm not
20
taking
more
those
blocks.
people. Yeah, I'm not taking those people. Like it's you by yourself.
Well, he's like, "Yeah, get rid of them or whatever."
Yeah.
Something. So then they basically start running. This is when we start to get General Stone authorizing the use of chemical weapons. And so what that looks like is when they get back into like the city, you see the mist.
Instead of fire,
so
it's
cool.
mist.
Yeah, it's cool. I
Which
like
is a
that.
callback to the mist.
Call back to the myth. We never even reviewed
It's
that.
like Jason Goes to Hell. It's the MCU. We even got Hawkeye, bro.
Did you know that Jason is tied in with Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Is he really?
That was in the
He's a-
documentary we
He's a
saw.
Deadite.
Is he really? No, he's not. I don't know.
Okay,
Sorry for
continue.
another-
That's
That's a
topic for
conversation for
another
another day, yeah. So basically, they find a car, and so they all hop into the car just like in the mist.
Close the vents. Close the vents.
And then they shoot the
close
kids.
vents.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're spoiling the ending.
Oh.
He hasn't seen it yet.
For real. Oh. And now I can never watch it.
I thought. Okay. Anyway.
So that they all pile into the car, and they're all covering their mouths and stuff like that, closing the vents, putting.
I don't
up the
think
Yeah,
it
because
was-
they're gassing. He figures out. He's like, oh, it's gas. Like, oh,
Yeah,
cover
they're- and the
your
infected start coming to
He
the
said-
windows
he said
and they're
cover the
banging
vents.
on the
He said
windows.
cover the
Fire
vents.
too,
Cover the
bro.
vents. Like that's gonna stop it. Cover the
Yeah.
vents.
Yeah, and so the infected, they start to drop like flies, right? Once the mist or the fog or whatever you want to call it starts to get a hold of them, and then you see the army men with the flamethrowers starting to.
It was
It's
cool.
literally
I like
the
those.
mist. It's
Cool.
literally
Yeah,
the
mist.
it was
Yeah, it's
cool. I liked it.
And so they're starting to clear out. They try to turn on the car, but it doesn't want to turn over. So Hawkeye is like, "Hey, Scarlet, you're in the driver's seat because they're in the UK. Their wheel is on the wrong side."
The wrong
It is on the wrong side.
So they're like, "Scarlet, I'm gonna get out. You go ahead and drive them to safety." And she's like, "Okay, cool, whatever." Not really.
And he's like,
He's like, I know. He's like,
him.
I'll meet up with you later. He just catches on fire. You know, some part of me for like a split second, I was like, okay, yeah, because he will meet up with them later.
I thought he was gonna turn around and start.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna do something. That no, he just
Because he
dies.
gets out, he has to push the car to get her
pushes
to
the
turn
car,
it over.
yeah, for it to
And
turn
then like
over.
the second it gets started,
He just gets caught on
you see
fire.
like a
Yeah.
close up of the flamethrower.
And then this is where I come back to. This is the second movie now where reviewers like, do they not know stop, drop, and roll? Like at no point did they try. He just like does. He just runs like
Flail.
this. Yeah, I'm like, but at least try. I think that would be my first.
But is that for like if you're fully on fire? I don't know.
I don't think it
Why
was.
was he
I
so
think-
flammable? Why was he so flammable?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why
It's
wouldn't
like-
you at least try it? You know
To
what
be
I mean?
fair, I think he was dead regardless. The gas would have got him. You know.
That's a fair point too.
No, he
Yeah,
covered
he
his face.
He didn't.
Oh.
He's on fire for sure.
R.I.P. Hawkeye.
After we call him
I know.
Hawkeye the whole movie.
Yeah. So that's why he's not in the movie no more.
I can't
That's why
believe
he's not in the MCU no more.
It's
can't
actually
believe he died, bro.
Doyle. For those.
Is it really?
Yes,
Doyle,
it's
yeah.
Doyle.
Like the director?
No, the director's Boyle.
Like his
Boyle? Oh.
This is Doyle.
Hey, Boyle meet Doyle.
completely different.
Okay. That was bad.
And so they get into the car and they start driving and they end up in the tunnel.
Or she can drive good.
I was like, yeah, I was going crazy.
They end up in the subway system, right? Is basically what it is.
Because they couldn't break.
Yeah, and they all get out. They all get out of the car, and it's super dark. And I think they do a really good job about showing us how dark it is, right? Because usually in movies, when stuff is dark, like of course there's a light or something,
Yeah, the back.
right?
Yeah,
So like, so we can see what's going on. But what they do here is that Scarlet has Hawkeye's sniper, which has a night scope. and that's the only thing that they can
I
use
like
to
this
see.
actually.
It was cool.
And so she's basically directing them which way to
Basically,
go.
for 5 minutes, we just went to like paranormal investigator.
Didn't you want
mode.
long shots?
It was that was a pretty long shot.
Hey, Ghost, can you tell me, are you alive or dead?
What kind of question is that?
I will say, I like that actress. Is her name Scarlett?
No, the character's name is Scarlett.
character name.
Her
I
actual
like-
name is Rose something.
I liked her
Insidious,
acting the whole movie.
Insidious. She's the mom.
Until this
There
part?
we go.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Was it until this part?
In this scene specifically, her dialogue is a little over dramatic.
Where he's like,
for me.
it's okay,
Come on, where are you? I can't find you. I'm like,
no, it was like, it was okay. And it's like, because they're going down a broken escalator or stairwell, and there's just piles of bones and bodies.
she's like, wait, move left, wait,
Yeah, move left,
Bro,
yeah,
they're
but-
dead. Just fucking
Yeah.
walk on them.
I would be like, yeah, listen, you're gonna step on some things, you're gonna hear some crunches, let's just move.
And then she ends up saying, wait, go left, and they fucking
Yeah.
And they fall, Peter Griffin style.
That's when she's like, where are you? I can't, like,
Yeah.
I
Then we get the jump scare where she like turns and there's Dawn.
Oh yeah.
my king.
And then Don literally comes out and grabs the gun and
Oh, P, bro, how did he find
Isn't
him?
that didn't that happen in the last Exorcist too? They beat him with the camera. I think so.
The Last Exorcist.
Right?
Which one's that?
The found footage one, the really bad one. It came out like around the same time Paranormal did, I think. Paranormal.
talking about like not the actual Exorcist.
No, it was like it was one that came out like in
Exorcism,
2010 or something.
Probably the Exorcism. Some
It's called The Last Exorcist, I think. Anyway,
Oh, I know. Which
it's
one,
a
yeah.
POV one. It's a found footage one where they like they beat him with the camera too. It's like
Bruh.
not bad.
Hey, Don's still brutal, man. OP.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so her son somehow
He doesn't bite her.
He's not even trying to
he
infect, bro. He's just
he's trying to kill
And
people.
then, some- and then somehow they
He
get
finds
split
him.
up again. Where
Yeah.
Don or the
Tammy
two,
and
Tammy
Andy
get split up. Somehow they're all fell together down the same stairwell, but yet they're like miles apart from each other.
right, and Don ends up finding after he beats the crap out of Scarlet, he finds Andy and they lock eyes again in the dark.
And then
Yeah, he attacks Andy. He's attacking him. All these things. And then this is when Tammy comes up, right? And then Dawn stops attacking.
he bites him.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
bites Andy.
He bites
but
Andy.
Tammy shoots Don.
He stops, and then starts walking towards Tammy, and then that's when Tammy.
Is this when Don dies? Does he die?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruh. Also, like, Tammy isn't really in the movie at all. Like, she's in it, but she has, like, no dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, it's all focused on Andy.
Yeah, and so this is when I thought they were gonna do like a plot twist, right? I thought they were both going to survive. But when I saw this scene, I thought that Andy was gonna get infected and Tammy would have to take Andy out, and Tammy's the one who actually had the same gene as
Right.
Alice,
Oh.
where she was resistant. Turns out that's not the case. Andy is like, get away from me. And like
He
takes
just, like,
off.
runs away, bro. He
He
throws
runs
a
away
fit.
in the dark and
Because
then
he
collapses.
thinks, he
Yeah.
thinks he's gonna turn.
I'm
and then
infected.
He falls on the ground and then he hits her with the, am I one of them?
This is one of the moments, and it happens multiple times throughout the movie. But in this scene specifically, it felt like too much to me. When they do like, I know this isn't what it's called in film. When they do like the frame rate drops, and it's not just slow motion. It's like almost like choppy. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
They took
yes,
they
yes,
filmed
yes,
it in
yes.
20 frames per second, and then they slowed it down.
Yeah.
And I don't know. In this scene specifically, they did it for way too long for my liking. It felt like
I didn't notice it.
why are we doing that?
I didn't. It was by this point I was like, you know, what's weird. Actually, yeah, it kind of the ending was kind of really abrupt. Like,
Yeah. Because
like,
the movie basically ends after this.
yeah,
The climax is like, yeah, it's not really.
yeah,
The climax is the thing with the scene with Dawn.
yeah.
Which doesn't even feel like the most
That's
important.
what-
I was gonna say, it felt like it came out of nowhere.
And that's
like,
why, and I said this was like, this goes back to how I said at the beginning, was like, it just felt like a movie, and then there was a lot of things, but nothing really happening. Like,
Yeah,
that's the summary of this movie. There's a lot of stuff, but nothing really of importance, and then the movie just ends. And
I
it's
think
like,
it was
oh.
supposed to be like, which I guess it's gonna end up being as of tomorrow.
I swear if you say it's setting up 28 years later,
No,
I'm
it's
so
supposed-
mad.
Okay, I guess I was about to say that. It feels like a filler thing. Like, the story could have gone on without this. You don't really need it. And what's funny is they started working on like 28 months later in like 2011, and it's just been pushed off until.
Did they really?
And
Yeah.
then they're like, well, months have
They
passed.
turned it
We got
into years.
yeah, we got the years, yeah.
But yeah, it feels.
I think the reason I saw a discussion. The reason they didn't do 28 months later is because there would have been really nothing of like impact at 28 months later. Like, what would they have done?
It's like 28 weeks. No.
It's
What?
pretty bad.
You know, it needed time to like set up And
Yeah,
28
I
months
think
is too like
Yeah,
soon.
because 28 years is essentially post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
28 is like, it's like over 2 years. I mean, at that point, I would hope something happened.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
So basically, what happens is that so Andy hits Tammy with the "Am I one of them?" and then Tammy's like, "Nah, we're good," and so they keep walking.
Which, even though technically,
like he's
He is,
infected,
yeah,
he's a
he's
carrier.
He's a carrier.
so he could still spread it to Tammy.
That's what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I would have killed him, bro.
So they make it to the stadium. While they're walking to the stadium, we get a bunch of shots of the infected still running around the city. So when they bombed the city, they didn't get everybody. So then from here, they make it to the stadium. They get into the helicopter. The pilot's like, "Oh, where's Doyle?" And he's like, "They didn't make it."
Okay. Yeah, they're like, we're left. We're the only ones left.
Yeah, we're the only ones left. So then he takes them.
He's like, okay.
And then the helicopter takes off, and then we get another shot. Is basically Paris, right?
Oh, we get
Oh,
the
this is the
28
ending,
days
yeah.
later.
This
It's
is the-
redone.
this is the
28
ending.
days later from the 28 weeks, and so this is where we basically get the hint that the infection has spread globally.
Don't we see a helicopter?
I thought they crash landed.
Because we see
I
like a
thought-
helicopter.
see a
that looks
helicopter.
crashed.
I thought it was their
I
helicopter.
don't know if it's the
though.
same one.
I don't think it was, but what I will point out was
But he was infected. So
yeah,
that's
so
what I'm saying.
they did show at one point. I forget exactly where, because like I said, this movie bored the mess out of me towards the end. That he got the same thing with
When
his
he asked
eye
Tammy.
when he asked
She like
Tammy,
looks at him and it's like,
and the
"No,
eye
you're
is
fine."
getting like
It's
the
the red,
redness and the veins in the eye. But it's just in that one eye. I
Yeah.
forget which eye, the blue or the brown,
It's
but
the left one, whatever color that is.
I think it's the brown one.
Again, they made it seem like it was their helicopter. That's how they.
That's what I assumed.
That's what I assumed too. But like, how would
Why
if
would
he's a
they have
carrier? Why
crashed?
would they have crashed? Yeah, like how would he infect? How would he spread it? You know.
Andy
Right.
sneezed on the pilot, and
I
then the
guess.
pilot.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Open mouth cough.
So, I mean, okay, I found this interesting because there were people who were trying to like retcon this movie, and I haven't rewatched the trailers, but somebody mentioned how at the end of this they end up in Paris, and apparently in one of the trailers for 28 Years Later, they mentioned having to bomb Paris. So like, because somebody was trying to say like, well, no, this movie isn't canon, like it just continues. From
Why
28
would-
days.
What?
Why wouldn't it be?
This
know the
movie
people-
isn't
The
canon.
same, like Star Wars people who are like, this isn't canon.
I mean,
There's only like 2 movies right now. How
Yeah.
can one of them? Not, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
But like, I'm assuming the Paris thing was in there to set up whatever came later.
I don't.
Right.
I don't. Maybe,
And I don't think
So yeah,
Maybe
so
never.
we'll probably get into it. So that was pretty much the movie. Pros, cons, Adam.
The cuts took me out. I think again, I felt like the movie just it was just a movie, and it's not like in a bad way, like, oh, it was a bad movie, so I mean it's a movie. It was just like it was a movie, and there's things that happen, but I don't think I've watched a movie like this in a long time to where like I didn't care or was invested, and I felt like even when you got to the end, nothing really happened. Like
You just
it
weren't
just,
pumping, man?
it just, no, hey, you know what? They got to a big villain. The villain was taken out, and that was that. Here,
There was a big villain.
who?
What's his name?
Don.
Don,
Yeah.
the one zombie that somehow just made it all the way to the same place that they were.
Big villain.
Big villain.
energy.
He missed the gas. He missed the fire
Exactly.
bombing. He missed all of that.
Big
What?
villain energy right there. He's built different.
How did he make it into the subway before them?
I don't know. Built different.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it just felt like a whole lot of nothing. And that's how I felt like at the end. I got to the end and I'm like, okay. Like, I don't think I've ever felt like that about a movie in a while. Like, where
It
it's
was
just like,
just a
it
movie.
just happened. Like, it was just a movie. Things happened, but like, I don't feel like there was any payoff. There was zero payoff.
Halloween
in this movie.
Kills.
And-
I love that movie, but
That movie's dog.
it's just a filler movie. Like it's just there
I
to.
mean,
This movie is to. It literally everything happens just to end up right back in square one of everything being
Yeah.
infected. Like
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. What's that?
And did anything happen to Idris Elba? Or is that guy still alive?
No, he died in the movie.
Nobody knows.
We
He got
never find
fired
out.
out. He got fired out.
Idris Elba. So he called it in. and
Called
he-
it himself, you know.
I'm
Alright.
sure all of them survive.
I don't know.
I think
I
it's-
mean, I'll get into it in my.
I think it's funny that they spent all this time rebuilding this thing to
Just
just
for
be
it to
like,
get-
it's
that was-
not didn't
yeah.
work.
Well, that was the thing. It's like
I think that's the point of the movie.
What
to
did
show
you
that.
expect to happen after 28 weeks later? Like they did such a poor job of like maintaining
Right.
it all. Like what did you think?
And I think that's the
No,
point of the movie.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that was the other thing too. Just you the whole premise, and I forgot what other movie we talked about this. It was so made us upset that literally the kids somehow dumb like idea of like we're gonna cross the bridge, even though the first day they told us don't cross the bridge.
28
and they
days later.
they crossed the bridge, and they literally destroyed the civilization.
That was
because
just-
the kids wanted to go across the street. That was the premise of the movie. The kids wanted to go across the street, and look what happened. The entire city
Don't cross the street.
Don't cross
got
the street.
carpet
That's lesson
bombed.
learned.
I mean, like,
That is what happened.
You're gonna carpet bomb your whole city if you cross the street.
and that's what happened.
Which is crazy. How is the security so bad?
That's just one of the many pitfalls of the whole
Yeah.
movie.
But, like,
there
that-
was so many choke points where just common sense would have made the movie like nothing would have happened. But
But that's
That's
where
the-
we're at.
they're like, how stupid can we make these decisions?
Yes.
And
Isn't that the whole franchise though?
And my only pro was the lighting at the beginning, which I guess is because it was the other director. And I will say there was a couple of good shots that they had, but then those good shots were then ruined by a CGI shot, like not even like 10 seconds later or something else that was unnecessary. It's like you got a good like wide shot of like, I think was it the bridge or something where it's desolate, kind of similar to the first one. And then you get like some bad CGI of something else. And I'm just like, why? Like, why do you do a good thing and then you do a terrible thing right after it? Like, I just don't get it.
He wanted to stop motion.
He wanted to stop motion. I did.
Jordan, not spoiler thoughts. Jordan, pros and cons.
Some quick cons. I did like the opening scene. I think it set it up well. I still have the same gripes I had with the first movie about like the picture quality. I'm not a fan of that specific like contrast that they use, and I also don't like the audio volume, like the music being so damn loud.
Yeah,
but-
then at the end they play the little theme.
Oh, they
have
have
it at the
I forgot
end.
they do have a theme.
Dude,
They do it at the end when they're like-
Dude, as soon as they played it, I'm like,
When they start walking to the stadium, I think is
They have
when
their
it
own
starts.
theme
Yeah.
song. Yeah,
like,
yeah, I
bro,
forgot
this
about
theme
it.
sucks.
Hey, it's gonna,
This theme
it's gonna
sucks.
be in the movie tomorrow.
It is gonna be, yeah.
The helicopter kills, obviously, you know the CGI has to be critiqued on that.
It was a cool idea.
Hawkeye caught on fire, bro. Why? That pissed me off. Man. If anybody lived, I wanted it to be him, bro.
Oh my God.
The helicopter guy was right. Ditch them kids, bro. Apparently, I also put like no one in the film can aim because when they're driving to the
The
stadium,
girl did,
she's the only one.
and she was in a military training.
When they're driving to the stadium, the helicopter's like trying to shoot the
Oh,
car,
I
and
forgot
it's just
about
like
that,
constantly
yeah.
off.
Yeah, that stormtrooper aim.
Also, true. Also, the like slow motion thing at the end, I just wasn't a fan of. But pros, I liked a lot of the Dawn kills. Like in the beginning, like the opening scene, he has the crowbar. I thought those were well done. When he gets infected the first time, and like, I feel like it just shows. I feel like it's graphic enough for me. They haven't incorporated like really any CGI yet in these specific scenes, like Dawn killing people. What else have we not touched on? Blah 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 blah.
I think what you're getting at is your pro Don.
I'm pro Dawn.
Pro
I like
Dawn.
the scenes. There was a lot of scenes when like when they were evacuating, or other scenes when it's a lot of people moving at once, and like I like the way those were filmed. Or like when we get the POV of somebody who's infected. I think those were pros for me. The helicopter kill again. I like the concept. I thought it was a cool
You know why?
concept.
It's because that's when all the fast cuts make sense. Not
Hey, that's fair, that's fair.
landing at an airport.
The car scene was a standout for me when they're like getting gassed on the outside.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
that
that was a
whole-
cool scene. Yeah.
The night vision thing I thought was unique. I've never seen that done. I'm sure it's been done,
It's
but
been
like,
a lot.
He hasn't seen Blair Witch.
with the scope though, with the scope.
Okay, with the scope.
Not with the cam, with the scope.
With the scope. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just missing
Yeah.
the heavy breathing.
Has it ever been done in a good movie? Is what I'm. I've never seen Star Wars.
A good movie.
Blair Witch was pretty bad.
And yeah, my boy Don. Come on, my boy Don. Hey, what a goat, bro.
Go.
He's like paranormal. He just shows up everywhere.
Honestly, I thought it was one of the Doctor Who actors for a second, and then I looked it up. I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not him. He just kind of
Bro,
looks like him.
Don, he's from Once Upon a Time.
He plays Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
He plays
What?
Rumpelstiltskin.
That's his only two casting
That's
roles.
what Joyce said. She would have even
That's
watched
where I
it. And I was
recognized it
watching
from.
it. She was like, "Is that Rumpelstiltskin?"
Noble stills.
Hey, okay, yeah, that's it for me. Overall, yeah, still better than the first one, and I'll stand on that.
Okay, pros cons, Justin.
It was
Big
alright.
Big pro was the opening scene again, very aesthetically similar to the first movie, which I loved. You know, I really like everything around it. I know y'all had gripes with it, but I think if the whole movie was kind of centered around that, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. This movie definitely leaned more towards an action film than a horror film.
Agreed.
Which I wouldn't say it's a good or a bad thing. It just depends on what you kind of want to watch. The whole movie itself, it was just average, you know. Pros again, opening scene, I can't really think of. There were some other scenes, you know, the gassing scene. There were some that were kind of laid out pretty well, but overall, the movie just felt, I wouldn't say painfully average. Would I watch it again? No, but you know,
Compared to the first
one, yeah, it felt a little more generic and plain. You could tell.
Like a movie.
Yeah, like a movie. Like a movie. It just felt
yeah.
like a movie, like he was saying. I wasn't really invested in the thing. I know they tried to make it to where, like in the first one, there was a lot of themes behind it. I felt
There was no character development.
that's what I'm saying. In this one, there's
no investment.
They tried to.
That's what I'm saying. It felt like a.
No, when though?
They
Like
tried to that's the whole like
the thing saving grace was the little boy taking the run during the shots from the building. That was it. Like that was that was the only thing.
Yeah, it's like Don. It's like Don following.
Is
Is that they tried? Like I'm saying, it seems like they tried. Did they do it well? No. But I'm saying they tried to make something thematic in it. It just wasn't there for me. It probably wasn't there for anybody. I can't imagine anybody watching this movie and crying because, you know.
Right, when people get killed off, it kind of just feels like,
So,
I mean, I felt that way about the first one, too.
Yeah.
No, I thought the dad in the first.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, the first one. I was a little more
When he
emotionally.
opens his mouth, or no, the crow.
I was more emotionally invested in the characters in the first one, definitely, than in this one. This one, it just was average. Again, it's not a bad movie. I like it because it's a sequel to the first one, but again, it doesn't really add anything, I feel, besides setting up for this
whatever comes next.
Setting up a movie
Hopefully
that's
pay off.
28 years later.
Also, just to throw it out there, I'm proud of us because we didn't call this a zombie movie one time. Because it's not a zombie
I
movie.
said zombies. I said zombies.
For real?
Yeah, I did too.
I zoned it out. They're not zombies. They're not zombies.
I know they're not zombies, but I
zombies.
kept saying zombies because it's so easy
Well,
to
maybe
say.
Don's a zombie. I mean, but everybody else.
Okay, pros and cons for myself. I liked it. I feel like y'all's pros and cons are for all three of you are pretty much valid. And my gripes basically come from like other things. Like if the U.S. forces are leading NATO, right, or like the U.S. if NATO is involved, then how is there not a contention or
Contingency.
how is there not a contingency plan for if things go south?
And there's no other countries.
That
there.
was
Like, what the-
the
right,
contingency
like,
plan was to
Nuke
kill
the
everybody.
fucking city.
That's what they
should have been
did.
it.
But
No,
like
they didn't.
the military
And they
base in the
shouldn't have
original has better protection than whatever this island is.
And they
Like,
shouldn't have let anybody off. Like that, in my mind, that's what it should have been, right? Like, no, if everything goes south, the only people who make it are everybody who's in the control room with General Stone.
Well,
They should have had the
Everybody
plastic
else-
dome, bro.
I will.
Everybody else, no.
I will say, I think this is my only defense of why I think for the whole bridge thing that made me mad. I think the what gets brought up is when what's her name, Susan, or what is
Scarlett.
Scarlett. She brings up. She goes, we've never had kids, so we don't have a plan for them. So I believe that if it was an adult that did it, I think they would have taken the shot and took them down. But because they were kids, he didn't take the shot. Because I even asked, are they adults? And they're like, no, it's puppies. So they knew like that's probably a no-go. Even though the technically Stone did say like you treat them like anybody else. But I think that was the first giveaway that he wasn't gonna.
But why is there so little protection to?
That's my.
There should have been walls or something.
Like, how does the helicopter pilot have access to his helicopter to fly it wherever the fuck he wants?
Which I understand. That's the point of them.
Well, I think so many potholes in the middle. That's so many potholes.
But that's like what causes them.
Oh, you mean how he can? Well, first of all, I don't think anybody. Well, I think the station is super low to the ground. I don't think they know when the plane leaves. But I think he has access to go because he's part of the teams that go out and help clean. Like that's how they transport themselves to go clean up, right? But that's the other part of their plan is like they're going onto the land. Like they're the only ones that have access to go across because they got to get rid of the bodies to make sure the infection is like Clear, like no
So-
dead bodies, no anything.
So what I'm getting at with this gripe is that if the world leaders, right, of all of Europe
Uh-huh.
and the U.S. are getting together to figure out like what to do, then there 100% should be a hey, we're gonna nuke London. Like that's it.
Right.
Well, they saw Resident
I know
Evil.
that doesn't matter to me because I still enjoyed this movie. I'm just saying.
They saw Resident Evil and
should
that didn't work.
Um,
Why didn't it work in Resident Evil again?
Because the virus was like mutating or something. I don't fucking know.
so
Big crater.
yeah, big crater.
Since
Oh,
no.
It was underground.
Oh,
It was underground.
That's because it was underground. The subways.
never mind. Never mind.
Oh my god.
He
I
rode
don't think
the-
that's
he
how
rode
that
the-
works.
he rode the subway to France.
Yeah, he was on it.
just waiting. He just waited.
I like to imagine every time he's not acting rabid, like out of shots, he's just a normal
No
guy.
person, just
So
waiting.
he's walking, he's like all rabid when the camera's on him, and then when it's off him, he's just.
Jason, he does the Jason.
So what super obscure reference that I really enjoyed, it was a pro to me, is that the first city that we get like outside of London, right, where the world has changed, is Paris. And if anybody has read the book Planet of the Apes, when they return to Earth, the first city that they go to that see that everything has changed is Paris.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just thought that was cool. That was a pro for me. 10 out of 10 movie. But
That's
yeah.
28 years. That's
Oh, okay. But yeah, so that was.
Oh wait, it is global. Never mind. They did point out at the end too that it is a global
They didn't?
catastrophe.
Well, it's all
Are the
Europe. It's
Americas?
all in Europe. It's all
Are
in
the
Europe.
Americas infected?
We don't know. We don't
He
know.
went across on the boat.
I
On
know,
the
why is
subway.
America overseas, bro? Mind your business. Bro.
Honestly, yeah. Like,
They're
why
like,
were they
oh, we can colonize. Let's move over.
Yeah.
It's because they're involved with NATO.
They were. Oh,
But
wait,
why
I
is it?
don't know. Somebody
Well, why
tried
is it
to
only
say-
U.S.? Why is there no other?
Because they're dealing with the other.
I'm telling you, when U.S. takes the lead, this is what happens.
Yeah, I know. This whole movie's a big gripe.
It's just a political commentary, the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like you talk about how like Night of the Living Dead is all about consumerism and that's
Right.
the true evil.
It's about how governments can't do
I don't even know how the
Yeah.
first one is like it's consumerism. I'm like, what? It's just zombies, my man. Like,
Bro, that's smart. What do you mean?
So that was basically 28 weeks later. Yay. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the algorithm stuff. It would really help us out. We really appreciate it. But until then, let's see. Jordan, the next movie is your pick. What are we watching for the next movie?
We're gonna be doing Megan 2. No.
Megan 2! Oh no!
We're gonna be doing 28 years later.
28 years later.
We're gonna finish off this trilogy by watching a movie that's the start of a new trilogy.
There we go.
Okay,
that
cool.
makes me mad.
Which, before we get into that, number 1 and 2 were shot back to back, so expect.
Oh no, they're gonna pull us
So it's totally
Okay, so the
gonna.
first one's gonna be so bad that they're just gonna not bring the second one out until they do reshoots.
The
again.
second one's supposed to release January of next year.
That's
So
not
it's supposed
supposed
to
to
be-
I'm calling
No.
it.
28 years.
Calling
later.
it right now, it doesn't. It gets delayed.
They're supposed to be like back to back. Like, so I'm assuming this one's gonna end on.
It's getting delayed like GTA 6.
Hey, we'll see. It has a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Already?
From
Yeah.
the critic score.
With like 100 something reviews.
Cillian Murphy zombies in it. Actually, no. Didn't they say he's at like
They confirmed that the one in the
Trailers.
trailer is not him.
But he's supposed to be in one of the other movies.
He's not in
the
this movie?
trilogy. I don't think so. I think he's in the other 2, but not this one. You gotta wait to see.
But it's
the
not
song.
actually him. It's actually him as Oppenheimer, and he's like,
Bro, if he would have knew. Where was he in?
Oppenheimer.
So they got killed. See, we saw that's the whole.
There you go. Full circle.
So yeah, so join us next time for 28 years later. But until then, y'all have a nice day.